Hello the YouTubes, welcome to Dance Mickle episodes 004. Sorry we didn't post last week, we had a bit of a crazy week, but we're back. Roll the intro. In this week's episode we are talking about a few different things. We had a staff meeting.
Make sure that we use the table numbers, make sure they're diving in or taking away. Ask them about water, which I think we're all getting a lot better about remembering to do.
Saki left. Saki was our Japanese friend who we'd have over for 6 months, and she worked at First Fruits, and she was an absolute weapon. You should have seen this girl. Like, she was 19 and she was working at the front, and then we taught her in the kitchen and she was able to run a service. She was an absolute legend. Saki, we love you and we miss you. Hey. Hey Saki, where are you going?
I'm going to Japan.
What are you going to do when you get back in Japan?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
What do you mean nothing?
Nothing.
What do you want to do next?
I want to go to Canada.
Canada?
Or Philippines.
Philippines?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Why? Because I want to study English.
What has been your favourite part about Australia? Gold Coast. How's it? Cut. Okay. Bye. What I learnt this week, we have been working through how to structure our company, and so we're going to talk about the differences between what a board is, what a board member does, and then also what the executive team is and what the executive team does. So what we're going to talk about is, I was going to do this on a whiteboard, but nobody wants to look at a whiteboard, so I'm doing it on the butcher's trolley in the effort that you'll be super excited about it. But what we're talking about is the structure of a company. So I'm kind of like a bit of an insight in how we're trying to structure First Fruits. It's basically a bit of overkill at the moment. Like, the way that we've structured up is basically like we're operating like $1 billion company, but we hope to be $1 billion company. No, but like we're moving in that direction. So we need like all these foundations in place before we need them in place. So this is why we're trying to do it. So basically, there's two parts to this, right? We've got like a separate entity over here which is called the board. I'm going to draw a bunch of tables, and so you have boards, you have board members. The role of the board is to act on the shareholders' interests. So in a publicly traded company, it's that there must be a board. There's also a chairperson of the board, right? And so the chairperson of the board is arguably the most powerful person in the company, because the chairperson of the board can decide who the executives are, including the CEO, and they can remove and reinstate executives. So this is the board, right? So they're acting on behalf of the shareholders, who are a separate group who don't really say a heck of a amount. And so on this line, then we have the executive and the corporate structure. So the executive structure, so it's also known as an organizational chart. So this line will control the day-to-day operations of the company, where this board will decide medium and long-term strategies that the company wants to achieve. So up here we've got the CEO, and then below that we have a few different roles. Depending on the company, it will be, these executive roles will look differently. So within this structure, we currently have COO. We kind of, in this one, we're still trying to figure out what this next one actually looks like. It's currently a CFO, but it may actually move. COO is Chief of Operations, Chief Operational Officer. The CFO is Chief Financial Officer, or we're looking for potentially at the moment to move it into a CCO, which is Chief Commercial Officer, which is basically sales, marketing, and finance all kind of rolled into one. And so, as an example, the accounting will be outsourced, the sales will kind of be internal, and the marketing will be moved out and the outsource as well. Within this structure, you can have so many different things. Kind of up here to kind of link the executives together, you can have a chief secretary, so that can be in that role there, right? And so currently, where we're finding like such a difficult time at the moment is that the board needs to figure out long-term strategy, tell it to the CEO. The CEO, it's his responsibility to enact that vision using his team. But currently, how it looks is COO, which is Kristen, is on the board. The CCO, which is Ben, is chief of the board. The CEO, which is myself, is also on the board. So basically, we have to operate, when we have meetings, we have to go, all right, well this, the board meets once a month. We're intentionally having a board meeting and thinking like board members, not as executives. So in this, we're looking at our future and long-term goals and strategies. And the board is then also checking me in those meetings to make sure that I'm on progress to enact the board's vision, right? And so we have to play this game where we're changing our hats depending on different circumstances to enable us to be able to be more effective and move forward and put in all this structure. I actually get really excited about this stuff because it's really interesting. I can put some links in the descriptions which talk about like a COO. So Chief of Operations is a really tough role. It's a lot of everything is kind of based on the COO. Putting in all of these procedures, especially in a startup. COO is important in a retail bricks and mortar store or chain because a lot of the procedures and everything is going to come based on what the COO decides. So basically, me being the CEO, it's my responsibility to enable and work with each of these executives and also have, I'm not going to be the expert on each of those fields because that's why they're in place, but also to have an understanding of what they're trying to do so that I'm able to support them in their role as effectively as possible. Something that I found really interesting when I was researching through all of these roles is that you've got the chief of the board and then you've got the CEO. And so what we've done at First Roots is we've intentionally tried to not let the same person hold those two positions. We were personally I was thinking through that. Is it wise to have one person unanimously in control of the entire entity, without really, you basically have ultimate control. And so we were, I was thinking through going, well, maybe it's wise not to allow that one person to do it. Interestingly enough, as I was looking through it, it seems that in the UK, it's actually against the law for the same person to hold those two positions. Thanks for staying through that. Hey Cora.
Hello, chickens.
Hello chickens.
Hello, chickens.
Hello, baby chickens. Hello, big chickens.
Hello, chickens.
Hello, fluffy chickens.
Hello, chickens.
Digging the chickens.
Chickens. How did it get in here?
Cora, what's that? Thank you for watching this week's episode. One of the things we're planning on doing in the next coming weeks is I'm really wanting to try and interview other entrepreneurs, other successful business owners and executives. And interestingly and also excitingly, my mum so happens to be the chief operating officer of a company called Classic Holidays. And so I think in possibly the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be able to go into that company, which I think is like a $50 million company, and interview the executives. So the CEO, the COO, the CFO, I think they have a commercial officer as well in the sales team, and just kind of get a bit of an insight about what a company of that size looks like and what it does day to day. I'm also, I have a few other people that are on the list that I'm going to try and interview. There's a few big names which you probably would know that I'm really trying to lock down. They're registering a bit of interest, but I'm going to have to push them a bit harder to actually get them to sit down in front of a camera with me. But hopefully they'll be coming in the next few weeks. Really keen to keep on doing these vlogs and to be more consistent with them. Sorry, still figuring it out. Last week was pretty mental, but we're back this week. Today's Tuesday, so you're probably not going to be seeing this till tomorrow. So we didn't get it out on Tuesday again, but we will try to make it consistent and regular, and we love you guys. Thank you for watching.